business world is building student career beyond placement. It is a new topic, interesting topic, and I have five of my distinguished panel members. I am sure, so we are going to get a lot of insights for this topic. But to begin with, since we have been given, I think they were telling 35, but I said 45 minutes for this panel. So what we will do is I will ask first each distinguished panel member to speak about 2 minutes. What in their respective schools each one of the director doing with respect to this topic, building student career beyond placement. So in your schools, what kind of experiment, what you are doing beyond placement, what are the things you are doing in just 2 minutes, because we have limited time and the lunch time is there. So sir, begin with you.
So, thank you very much. I'll be very brief, and the point that I want to make is that we at our business school, and I think everybody business school in India, is actually not focusing only on placement. Placement is just a process. All the skills that we are building in a B school go much beyond placement, and actually for the life of our student in the corporate world, in business, and in life in particular. And the process, I would describe this, since I am supposed to finish in 2 minutes, I would describe this in two simple words: business school education. I would separate it into two parts. One is the academic part, and the other part is the non-academic part. The education is very holistic. It covers the entire gamut of running business, marketing, finance, HR, analytics, new technologies, etc. It focuses on that. But besides this, it is the non-academic skill building which a business school does, which is in terms of imparting leadership skills, imparting problem-solving skills. It are these skills which we focus on at our business schools, at all good business schools, which actually make him ready to perform and excel in the life after, beyond placement, and in the corporate business and life situation. I would sum it up right now and then participate subsequently.
Thank you, Professor Anilji. May I request now Professor Ashit?
Yeah, so thank you, and thank you, sir, and thank you, Business World, for this event. So now what happens is the business order around us is getting highly dynamic, and we really cannot predict that what mix of candidates will come on board. Like the passing out batch that we have at BEAM, they have about 30 to 40% students with good work experience. But the other batch that is passing out in 2024, they are mostly freshers. So the program architecture is the key. So we have a unique program architecture. We call it pie-shaped architecture. And in this pie-shaped architecture, it's quite agile. So that means that based on the cohort, the mix of cohort, we keep changing the course component. We keep changing the pedagogy. But we see that in the environment today, there is a lot of emphasis on knowing the self, and knowing the self and connection with the family, with the society, with the environment. So that is where there is a beautiful course by the AICT called Universal Human Values. So I made it compulsory part of my syllabus. We have lot of practice courses like sports, and as they play, they earn credits. Then all the clubs and committees. I don't have any placement officer or admission officer. It is all driven by the students, only students. They run all the digital marketing campaign, everything they do. So they learn on the job. So thereby they build that ability to work in a team. So ability to work in a team, again, there is another aspect. Of course, at the same time, we give them adequate input on functional areas, on technical areas, whatever we usually talk about. And we have lot of courses which are industry design and industry delivered course. Like, I don't think any faculty I can hire full time to teach a robotic process automation. I can go through Coursera and teach that subject, but not so. We are getting people from industry who design the course, who teach that course. Similarly, fintech, similarly, blockchain, or say, it could be say digital HR. Digital HR is not taught by some HR faculty. It is being taught by a person who has implemented digital HR in Unilever and other companies. Like, say, derivative analytics. It's not by our core finance people, finance faculty, but it's the people from the industry who have done that, who have been there. So these kind of interventions, like more industry focused intervention, and also looking at the soft side. Soft side does not mean business communication, speaking ability, and this this etiquette building, so on and so forth, but the ability to work in a team. And we are forcing everyone to participate in sports. In fact, I need to spend some money on capital expenses. I mean, that is a requirement. So I have ordered for 2 DSC scan machines. So that is where all your body parameters and all that will come, and we'll monitor how students are performing on that count. So these are different attributes, different interventions we have taken. But to sum up,
So I think
make it happen, this
yeah,
program
we
architecture
will
is
come
the
back,
key.
sir.
Okay?
We'll come
Yeah,
back.
thank
Now
you.
I request Professor Pawan.
Thank you. First of all, let me say I'm feeling very comfortable here because we all know each other's joy and each other's pain. So, fine. First of all, I would like to describe that there are 3 dimensions to this topic.
2 minutes.
2 minutes only,
Yeah.
I know. But there are 3 dimensions. Dimension number 1, that see the exact wording, that building a student career beyond placements. Whom it is being said to, this sentence? To, let us say, B school professors and directors. Point number 1, MBA is not meant for creating students to become eligible to become management trainee or just to get a placement, because MBA is a very big thing. MBA is a big thing. It is a leveler. It is lifetime qualification. MBA is also meant to create capabilities of becoming CEO. Later on, brushed up knowledge and continuous knowledge will be needed, but MBA is also to make CEO. Point number 1. Second dimension to this question is that, yes, B school need to do certain things, and I will tell you also during question answer what we are trying to do. Success of B school, also one parameter should be how many students are refusing to enter the placement interview at the end of 5th term or whatever, whenever we have placement season. Why? Because we have built certain capabilities, and perhaps they are saying that we have decided to do something on our own, and they are refusing to go to, let us say, face the interview. That is the second point. And third point is that what B school is doing to say to students that MBA is not only for placement, and there may be living which may be covered by placement, but life cannot be covered by placement. So transcending from managing living to managing life. On all these 3, we are trying to do something, not to great extent, but yes, during question answer, I would love to have interaction and mutual learning may take place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Pawan. Now, may I request Professor Pravinji?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a wonderful opportunity for all of us to interact. I fully agree with my colleagues sitting here in the panel. The purpose of MBA should not be the placement only. We are into this thought process and trap, I'll say, to some extent. But the students, the faculty, the administration, everybody, including parents, should look at MBA education as the vehicle to get prepared for all kinds of adversities, not only the placements. In our institute, most of the activities, we call it as student-driven. I think this is one method by which we prepare them for life and for ability to take up challenges in future. And I am also very fond of, say, preparing students for emerging, say, challenges not known before. In VUCA world, what life will throw at them, it will be vastly unimagined and unplanned. So they should get prepared for those challenges. So some methods which we adopt is student-driven activities involving student in most of the activities. Few initiatives our institute has taken, keeping in line with our mission, that is building, developing socially sensitive business leaders. So the Rural Immersion Program, which we have started almost 8 years ago, now it has been more formalized, and it is there for nearly 2 weeks. It is now mandatory, and next year we are planning to how to develop as a 3-credit program, and student should have experiential learning. They should know the real Bharat. When we focus management education, and the previous panel was discussing whether India can take a place in global management education. I think with 1/6 of the population on planet, we are answerable to 1.4 billion people. So every student should know what is real Bharat. Apart from that, we have a certain outbound leadership program, which typically corporates sponsor to their executives, that we are trying to build in our curriculum. So these are some of the steps which we have taken in last few years to prepare the mindset of the students, that they are here to build their life, not just the placements.
Thank you, Professor Praveen. Now, may I request Dr. Vishal?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I think we would all agree that all of us as business schools or schools of management within universities, we're all doing what is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of scenarios, even Clark Kent and Superman kind of scenarios, wherein by day we are Superman and by the evening we are Clark Kent. I think we're obviously trying to ingrain a lot of important values, ingrain a lot of different kinds of skill sets, more depth, holistic learning as well. But when push comes to shove, and when placement season lands up, everything else goes out of the window, and then we're all measured on that one metric. But just to give you an idea of what IMT is currently doing, I think one of the major avenues for us is something which is around the entrepreneurship and innovation piece. That's something that we really quite focused on. We've had obviously startup co-founders, founders, for example, Farmeezy, Spinny, Unstop. A lot of these founders who have come in from IMT Ghaziabad have done well for themselves and made us proud. But I think a more formalized structure is what we're currently doing as we go forward, getting a lot of these people and doing a lot of mentoring and guidance, because we believe that a metric of, let's say, about 2% or 3% of students opting for creating their own startups needs to go up to at least about 10% in the next 3 years. And that's something that we are looking at right now. What we're also doing is this whole idea that for some reason our original societal contract with why we came along as business schools, for some reason we've kind of lost in the process. What was the original contract? The original contract was impact and societal impact. And I think we are trying to do that, let's say, back again through Center for Sports Research. We've tied up with various universities. We are focusing on research on traditional sports. We're focusing with federations. We are launching employability certification for ex-sports people who are transitioning into other aspects. At the same time, we're also getting into more detail and sinking our teeth into this whole idea of the three-pronged approach to management learning, which is the domain knowledge, the technology, as well as the liberal orientation. They're all kind of becoming a bit of a confluence. And what we're doing through our Center for Data Sciences is to try and bring in that level of understanding of technological appreciation as we go forward. I think we'll not be able to do it alone. So we've had a good number of collaborations. So very recently we tied up with IIIT Delhi, because that tech field and tech knowledge is something that they're able to help us, not only from the innovation entrepreneurship perspective, but also a lot of intermingling happening within the classroom, with faculty of them coming along and teaching in our classroom, our students working with their students. And of course, we also got into a recent collaboration with IRMA, because you talked about the sensitization, the Bharat. And this is our way of being able to contribute to a larger base of careers. Let's say working with the NGOs, working with, let's say, in policy, working in other spheres, which at this moment are kind of not looked at very seriously by our students.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Vishal. I think in the first round, all the five speakers, they spoke about, what normally we do in MBA. Plus, in addition to that, to give the larger picture of the nation, to be a better decision maker, rural immersion program, the other side, urban and rural. Plus, as Professor Pawanji said, you have to add those three dimensions, and Vishal talking about the other than teaching, but the combination of the new courses and how to make students, as Pawan also said, it is about how many of them are going to opt out from the placement. So if you look at this, but now in reality in business school, all of you know that out of 12,000 and odd business schools, we have 3,300 business schools and department of university departments. One third of the global business schools are in India. The number is very high. And even if you look at the top 50 business schools in India, the fee is extremely high. And this is the only PG diploma, one area, the fee is not controlled by either state or center, even though sometime attempt have been made, but it has not happened. So that is our fees are extremely high, and students go for loan, and that is how they look at what is the placement and what kind of companies are coming. And that is what students, before opting out, whether it is a coaching class or they contact the senior students in the respective colleges, they only ask first question is a placement. And that is what their focus. So in business school, but if you look at some of the engineering institutions, I must say one of the engineering institute when I was in Trichy, there is a university called Shastra University. 20 courses are taught in that engineering university. They are nothing to do with engineering, neither civil, make any branch of engineering, they are not relevant. But those 20 courses are only talking about moral education, giving Indian values, the ethos. So those courses they introduced. And another school there, Jamal Muhammad College, they also introduced. And when I asked them, I went one of the inauguration function there. They showed these are the 5-6 buildings built by our Jamaat. Jamaat means alumni. Then how come Jamaat built so many? Then they said we all the streams of our college, everybody will go for moral education. I think this is what something even National Education Policy 2020 also founded on IKS, Indian Knowledge System. So I think beyond career, if you ability to create a wealth either as an entrepreneur or as joining a company, but holistic human being, and for that holistic human being, one aspect given in NEP is already there in management education, that is a multidisciplinary. So we management is the only education comparing to others. So different streams of faculties teaching, providing interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary kind of things. But how to make holistic human being and the values and ethos which are founded on IKS, I think that is one thing I think currently is not fully introduced in our business schools. Even some places the courses are there. I think that is one point beyond career. Many times you have seen some people have reached the height and they are known for wrong reason, because more ke chakkar mein, materialistic goal. Business school fee is very high, and their life goal is a materialistic goal, money and money and money. So in life goal, money is one of the small component. Life is much bigger than money. So that kind of focus how to bring to the business school students. And that is where, this particular topic talks about beyond, the placement. So how to make them to focus as a holistic human being and focusing on life, as Professor Pawan rightly said, it is not for just, for the purpose of living, but you have to be, it is much beyond. So for that purpose, what are the, actions and keeping National Education Policy 2020 in mind, you all might have gone through it. So what kind of changes we should bring so that we can change the mindset of our students, as well as, entire culture we can change, focusing on holistic, multidisciplinary, and for much larger goal that we call it as a life goal. so that the materialistic goal will be very, very small component of that. So what one can do, may I start from, Professor Vishal, that side? So in 2 minutes, we'll take some questions
Sure.
also.
So I think that's a very relevant question. And I think it's a very relevant, important question, but a very complex question to answer. Because I think business schools in India have pivoted in a way in the last 10, 15 years, especially with international accreditation, becoming more research focused. And so many of the faculty had to pivot because a lot of the faculty, their sole reason for existence was to, provide a very amazing experience in the classroom. So I think even this question that you've asked, and including the NEP as well, it requires us to pivot. It requires us to actually look at, deconstruct our curriculum. How do you kind of slow a bit of a hit the ground running race that every student gets into? Let's say within the 2 months that they come in, all of a sudden they're preparing for summer internships and they're going for interviews. And so I think that model requires all of us to actually co-create and see how we can step back and integrate a lot of things that you've just talked about, the Indian knowledge system, the immersion, the sensitization. And I think there are certain intrinsic limitations that exist in how we have wired ourselves as business schools. Now, this wiring could be around how faculties think MBA education should be, how their domain, should be like, what kind of projects, what kind of cases they're actually doing, what level of effort they're putting into the classroom, how do they work in a collaborative manner with other faculty within the system as well as outside the system to provide that learning. It doesn't, if you think a little bit more, I'm sure we can create those cases, we can create those immersions which actually factor in a lot of what you're talking about. He talked about the Real Bharat, you talked about the Indian knowledge systems. I think it requires a lot of preparation by the faculty. It requires a lot of effort, possibly some time off, 6 months, 12 months to actually re-engineer a lot of how they have taught, whether it is OB, HR, whether it is marketing, whether it is finance, whether it is any social subjects. A lot of this requires them to first start thinking, what do I do? How do I deconstruct it? It's an effort. Do we want to make that effort is something that we possibly as directors have to be able to create that environment for. So I think it starts over there. Once the faculty have bought into this whole idea of wiring, I think the rest kind of follows as well.
So thank you very much, Vishal. I think you gave a very nice insights. Now may I go to Professor Praveen Gupta ji. So you talked about rural immersion and kind of input given from even professionals teaching, as Ashit ji also told about. Now you see when the senior people from industry, when they come and address the students in business school, they always say, you don't look at the package. You should join the good company, good profile. Don't look at the highest package. That is the kind of advice they give. But students, those who are listening to them, they say that this person has gone through all the stage. And for us, he's telling, don't look at the package. It is difficult to convince because he has gone through all the stage and he says, don't go through that package. So, and he does, advice is not wrong, advice is right, but to get that kind of, wisdom, he has to pass through many years and many experience. Based on that, he is giving good advice, but students take other way. So how to deal with that kind of problem? For example, people, somebody says, if you know more and more, and then you realize that you know less and less. So that is how. So how do you deal that kind of issues in your school?
Professor Betri, very interesting and very challenging question. It is indeed a very difficult situation for us as educators and mentors and guides to our student to convince and to overcome this dilemma. What dilemma has been thrown by industry experts, and not to really focus on the CTCs and packages and really focus on the profiles and the history of the company and the career path it is offering. It's very difficult, but I feel how we tackle is one is the continuous mentoring from the faculty, of course, that is one way. Second is we have some sessions with our alumni when a person who is passed out from our institution, he is part of industry, and when he comes and share his experience and he gives an advice on the same line, I think it is more convincing. That is one way of handling the situation. And in fact, we have planned for so many years, but now for the last 2-3 years, we have rolled a very formal mentor-mentee program where there is a hand-holding by the alumni of at least 1 or 2 students. And I think that gives a better perspective to the candidate or the student to how to really go through this process and choose what is best for him or her. This is one way. Another way is really when we expose students to different activities, whether it is a social work, connecting with society, connecting with the other leaders in the country, I think they also start thinking in a more broader and holistic way and look at the career not only from the package point of view. This is extremely important. Some of these speakers who we invite, they also share the alternate to the formal career and how they have, say, left certain very, very attractive career path and they have taken the alternate route. And fourth, I'll say, students are very mature and the kind of information they get, it is also, it's not only from the, say, attractive packages point of view, they are in search of the real meaning of life. I think these are some of the efforts which we make at our institute.
Thank you very much, Professor Praveen. I must tell you, I was talking to Anand Deshpande, who is the CEO of Persistent Alumni of IIT Kharagpur. So I was talking when your company is going to come in Nagpur. He said, Professor Maitre, I don't look after Persistent. I only look after my foundation. You see, he has reached a stage, money is no more important for me, how to serve the society through his foundation. I look into that, Baki other professionals look into that. So that is what the stage people reach. They advise the students this way, and convincing will become one of the challenge. I think you have given some of the insights. Now, Professor Pawan Kumar Singh, Pawan Kumar ji is one of the well-known authority in the area of IKS, Indian Knowledge System. He's also on one of the governmental committee. I think our NEP foundation is on IKS. And, yesterday there was an exhibition, Niti Ayog, Chintan was there and we were seeing, and somebody was showing a high school student, Aryabhatta, and his Aryabhatta's formula, you can count how many fruits are there in the fruit stall. If you know the base number, you can count, and that is the formula he has given. So how to make use of, Bhaskaracharya's and Aryabhatta's, IKS, it is just one example. Now, for business school students, to make them holistic and also a different perspective or multidisciplinary, they should get a perspective from all the angles. For example, if you go to the dentist, if there is a pain in the teeth, he will take out and then he create a problem for eye, and then you have to wear the chashma and all. Again, then he does something, then ear problem and brain problem. Because the specialists do only their task and give the problem for other doctors, they also help. So that is what the specialization is all about. And that is where in NEP, the focus has been multidisciplinary. Before acting anything, what is its impact on others? And that is what the multidisciplinary purpose is. So how to, while teaching the students multidisciplinary various perspectives, 360-degree view, how to give. For that point of view, IKS, some of the illustrations of IKS plays a very important role to make students, to build students for their life. I think you rightly talked about. So what are the things, probably we need to introduce from IKS point of view, from management education, so that a focus on, placement will be a small portion, but they will be focusing on their life, building their life. So what are those suggestions, advice you give to us, sir?
Sir, allow me to come to this question after 60 seconds. You're only given 2 minutes.
Okay.
In the beginning, I would like to say, every topic of panel discussion, like every person has personality, topic also has its own personality. This is a luxurious topic. It is a stylish topic beyond placement. But first of all, let me say, we have to be clear how we look at the Maslow model. Do we want to go to the second, third, fourth need, fifth need without fulfilling the first need? No, we cannot afford. So we cannot continue to be party, because we all are parties to such kind of report which says 65, 70, 72% of MBAs are not placeable. We cannot be. For example, when Dr. Anurag Batra and team invited us, they said, this will be your topic. They did not say to us, knowing that we are mature people, that there is winter in Delhi, so bring your coat, etc. He did not say. We know that. Similarly, this topic we are discussing with great assumption that placement issues by the institutes have been taken care of. Let us not lose sight of that. We cannot continue to be party of making unplaceable students. So, let we all do good investment in making students placeable, because please look at their face with empathy. Look at the faces of many of the parents who send such students with empathy, and actually they are searching for right kind of, let us say, job. So let us not lose sight of that issue. But topic is luxurious. Let us see. You see, after we have also taken care of the skill building of the students who can be placeable, now this topic starts. Because it is a baton race kind of thing. Yeah? This topic is the second person who is running the baton, or the third person, not the first person. First person is, of course, capability for getting a job. I will never lose sight of that. So let there be no misunderstanding. See, we are doing something which will give answer to this question, sir. There is a club, which actually a social sensitizing club, which deals with uplifting the lifestyle, or let us say standard of living of the village around, so that going there may not be problem. And recently, with collaboration with other social service organizations, students have been able to provide 70 street lights, solar street lights to villagers. We have been, our students have been able to actually say, give infrastructure with others' collaboration, of course. Tiruchirappalli is not funding, but they collaborated well, and 2 schools, they have uplifted the level of infrastructure, and they are now looking like government school, of course, a primary school. They are looking like a little modern school kind of thing. Next issue is that we also hold talks, discussions about sensitization. Just last week, we had also, by one of the top India's team, that is called experiential learning, where through catharsis, because we only think addition is the process of knowledge, but deletion is also process of knowledge. Catharsis is process of knowledge. We are trying to do that. And in this process, we are also sensitizing the students. I also float sometime course. My one course gets floated is Behavioral and Leadership Insights from Sanskrit Scriptures. The abbreviation is BLISS. I say to students, if you don't take my course, I don't mind. I'll get time to read. But if you take my course, you will get blissful. So there are insights about many things, beyond typical run-of-the-mill kind of discussion that we do. There are many deeper insights in life we try to discuss. So, just I will end this part by saying, I'm quoting the second sutra of Ishavasyopanishads, first line of second sutra, which says, Kurvanneveha karmani, jiji vishet shatang samah. It means, I think this should be taught to every MBA students of the world, that you should be able to engage in auspicious action for at least 100 years in life. It means we should try planning how I can live for 100 years. Because longevity, I'm not saying jiji visha, जीने की और भोग की कामना नहीं कह रहा हूं. I'm simply saying everyone should have desire to live longer, so that one should be able to see all paintings of the life in one life, so that moh for life also withers away. But it also says that one should be able to live for 100 years while doing auspicious karma, and that karma itself can liberate if you are doing a kind of, let us say, detached involvement. So these all kinds of lessons we try to give, and many students, let me say, concluding marks, 20% of students are very good material. They are highly sensitive to all these kinds of discussions. 50% are waiting what you are doing and then they get sensitized. Maybe 10-20% do not, but if you have gathered dust for years, it will take some more time to remove the layer of the dust also. But we must keep trying in these directions to give holistic education to students. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now to continue the same with Professor Asid. I think you see students, today it is a digital disruptive world. Disruption is happening very often and faster than fast. And whatever we teach in MBA courses, the core courses, and what actually practically you see in the industry, there is a huge change. Because technological development takes place first, and when it comes to implementation, it will take some time for the corporate as well as for the business schools. Probably business schools are the last one to implement. Now, while teaching the course, what we teach and what actually there in the industry, there is a gap. For example, 3D printing. The entire inventory in the operation management has changed. So like that, many courses or even the, to make one car 14,000 to now 200 items are good enough to print a car or to print a building or to print a product. So in this kind of environment, what we are teaching, what actually technology is taking us. And now after the industry, we'll bring back to the academy and we teach. That is what he told about industry professionals are coming and teaching the course. Why the focus on industry professionals? Because they know before we know. They practice before we know. Now how to change this one? The moment something happened, R&D, why can't it come to the education institutions or management institutions, and how to propagate so that industry should come to us to learn from, and then they should practice instead of happening in reverse way. And also the skill set what we teach, they are changing very often. Skills have self-life. The moment they graduate, they have to lead the unknown roles in unborn companies. So if that is the case, how to prepare our students for the life, and that is one part. And second one, how to bring the R&D first than the industry. 2 points and 2 minutes.
Yeah, so thank you. And this is a subject very close to my heart. And after I took over, I built...
Ashish ji has more than 30 years of industry experience after doing his MBA from IIM Calcutta. Yeah, and that is why this question goes to
I'm
you.
Ahmedabad.
Ahmedabad, yeah.
So what we do is that we set up 4 centers of excellence, okay, real centers of excellence. Like in marketing, we have RTCML, Real-Time Contextual Marketing Lab. We have several open source tools and also proprietary tools like Salesforce.com. So that is where you learn about the ERP that this reporting that the sales team are using. And also like say Social Studio, that is where you can do sentiment analysis, and they are pretty expensive. Similarly, in finance, we have FinTrack, financial trading and simulation analytics software. So that is where we have Bloomberg terminals, we have NSE, this smart simulation, trading simulation software. So what we do, we help students to do BMC, CMT and all these certification there. And not only that, to do a lot of interdisciplinary research, like social sentiment and stock price changes. Okay, so this kind of research is happening. So cross-disciplinary research, cross-disciplinary project, different certification, and so much so that we are also very soon filing 2 IPs coming from the finance lab. Similarly, in operations, we have a Center for Operations Excellence. And operations management, usually in the management institutes are not given that much importance, but we do, because Tamil Nadu is a hotbed for, and those students they're good in quantitative aspects, quantitative methods. And all the students in Kabiribal, they are pretty intelligent, but I reached there pretty late. So I missed that bus, but students are good in numbers. So we have a lot of operations related simulation software. And globally, behind students, they are performing very well when it comes to CAPSIM simulation and all these applications. all these competitions. They are getting global first, second, third rank. So similarly in operations, we have this O9 solution, and we have this other supply chain 4.0 solutions. And these are ways I can excite the Gen Z. So Gen Z does not like those textbooks. I issue them textbooks, but they don't read it. But they will be sitting in the lab and they will be experimenting on. So 2 projects now I have given to my marketing area chair and operations chair. To my operations chair, I said that I want to build drone-based supply chain. Okay, there should be drone delivery. It should come from my office canteen to my main building. This is where I run the program, administrative building. And similarly, this metaverse lab for the marketing faculty. So this kind of excitement we try to create, this kind of new technology which has a lot of management input. We try to do that. And we have Center for Sustainable Development. As you may know that like many of the top IIMs, so we have been fortunate to be selected by government of Tamil Nadu to be their academic partner for their this Chief Minister's Fellowship Program. So there are 30 fellows. They are working with the Chief Minister's office. They are working on different SDG initiatives. It could be women empowerment. It could be this data governance. It could be water management, so on and so forth. For all the 30 students, there are 60 students who are attached to them. And they work along with them in terms of identifying the problem, the research, framing the research question, and all their activities. And one faculty mentors maybe a group of 3 or 4 students. So these are some, interventions. Of course, apart from that, you have summer internship, different other course-based project that is there in all the institutes. But these are some kind of unique initiatives that we have at BIM, and thereby they get more industry consulting ready. Like even CSR impact analysis, we did it for City Union Bank. There's a small amount we received, but that's a big learning, that is involved. Some local dairy and hatchery farms, we are consulting with them. So jokingly, I keep teasing my faculty that Unilever and P&G, they don't call you. So you're going to this local hatchery and dairy farms. But jokes apart, what happens even if I can help a coconut seller that how a QR code or UPI can increase his sales, then I am building this local ecosystem. So through this kind of initiatives,
So
we are making the change.
thank you, Dr. Ashit Barmaji. Now, Chairman this Postima Business School, Professor Anil Sobhani. Now, you see, all of you know that we, after conducting an examination, we evaluate the papers. And we give the marks and we give the grade A plus A, whatever the A minus B and those things. But some of the grades, probably students may get a higher grade, and how much knowledge they got, how much skill they got, probably it is difficult to connect, build the interrelationship. Some of the assessments in some of the core courses are Stone Age evaluation. They have nothing to do with the industry when it comes to. Now, in that case, what industry expect, what we equip the students and what industry expect. As Professor Pawan said, what we are discussing, it is placement is given, but beyond placement, what they should equip, we are talking about entire panel, not without placement. Placement will be there. So first placement, then significance part we are talking about. So how to evaluate, what industry wants and what we equip the students. For example, if any task is given, how courageous student is, how much risk he will take, how confident he is, what kind of tenacity he is having, and what kind of confidence he is having, how to assess all those kind of things for the students. Because if he is not confident, and then probably their, the reaction on that particular task will be different. So how to build these kind of skills which we don't evaluate in many of the subjects, core subject and elective subject. I hope all of you agree. So how to evaluate this kind of skills? Yours is a, some kind of new generation school. How do you do that,
So-
or you intend to do, please?
So thank you, sir. just 2 or 3 things I would say before I come very specifically to your question. Uh, the I often interview students, ask them about their strengths, and in their strengths, I get all these answers. Leadership, perseverance, teamwork, etc., etc. Because there was this talk of social, but I never get the answers like honesty, sincerity, compassion, uh, and passion, etc. These are actually qualities missing in the youth of today. We actually tried to introduce a course on ethics at Postama Business School, but then the attendance kept thinning, and we had to discontinue that course. And imagine at the other end at Harvard, they introduced a course some time back on which they called as strategic misrepresentation, where they actually taught their students how to lie. Of course, they had to withdraw that course after some time. But then this is the situation of ethics, and we try to inculcate this in our students, but then it is a difficult task.
No, Anilji, reframe the question. This, how do you test the evidence? I'm talking about not the interaction, because coaching classes train them such a way that confidently they tell lie. So we don't want.
I am coming to that.
So how to assess these
So
things?
the second thing that you somebody talked of, what the business schools
No,
say.
we will take other things, but you can focus on this. How
All right.
to?
Okay, so
yeah.
then specifically on this, basically, Firstama is a business school set up by alumni of IIM Ahmedabad. I myself an alumni of IIMA, and the what I learned basically, and what all of us learned basically over there in the case method, which was perfected at Harvard and brought into India by IIM Ahmedabad, is to focus on the problem. Here at Firstama, we go beyond one step beyond that to look for problems where they don't exist. So look for problems where there exist none. And these non-academic skill sets that I talked of in the pedagogy that we have built in. So this is where we bring in resilience in our students. This is where we bring in the ability to identify and capitalize on opportunities. Now, these are the skills that we are brought in, and these are the skills which have to be assessed as far as the pedagogy is concerned, as far as the examination mode is concerned, and which is actually brought in not through MCQs, but through a series of cases, methods, putting them through practical projects in industries, and in also through a very task-based summer internships where they learn to withstand pressure. They learn not only leadership, they also learn followership. And this is how this whole assessment process is actually built. And I'm glad to tell you that Firstama students are considered amongst the most resilient students in the corporate world. If we say the industry average for the first job for a B school graduate is almost 1 to 1.25 years. For our students, it is on more than 2 years in their first job. So this is the one of the parameters of resilience that we have actually incorporated in our students at Firstama.
Thank you, Somani Saab. I think today new phenomena. It is important to, I think, business to make the student more confident, risk-taking, and also a better decision maker. We have to introduce gamification in our courses. Simulation is one line, online games, offline games. Basically 2 teams are playing. First team A may lose first 2 rounds, and remaining 8 rounds, team A may win and B may lose 8. Then the team which loses first, and later on they will change their strategy and change their take the higher risk and make the better decision, and then they keep on winning. Out of 10 rounds, A will win 8 and B will win 2. So this clearly you can see as a faculty, you can see that who is confident, how they take the risk, and without any cost, how they also learn a better decision making. So like this kind of gamification, simulations, using full, making use of IT, probably we need to get into that. This kind of examinations are going to play important role to make them more confident and at a time, simultaneously how to watch the things, how to make a decision. So these are some of the things probably we don't assess, but this kind of method can help. And that is where, if you look at the national education policy, I am part of one of the implementation team for leadership and governance. So what I want to say is, all our business school people, we should be looking at NEP. There are three angles, national curriculum framework. It talks about the academics, that is basically theory, the skill, and the experiential learning. The phenomena based learning should be, for example, merger and acquisition kind of courses should be taught. Almost all departments, all areas of the management and project should be given. Students can experience and they will build the confidence on them. So this kind of things, probably beyond career or placement, probably these people are going to make a mark and we can build them for lifelong. So I thank all my esteemed panel members. They have given a great insights. I am sure you all enjoyed the insights given by distinguished panel members. I thank all the panels for their valuable insights and timing. And thank you very much for Business World for giving us up an opportunity to have this particular session. And thank you very much for patient hearing.